Hello, Latin 4. Last time we talked, we had just seen the death of Cotta and Sabinus, and they both kind of went out in the way that Caesar wanted you to believe. Now we're on to 538. You remember there were a few men who made it back to the fort, but they all killed themselves to a man, and the what do you call it? The Aquilifer, he threw the standard up over the ramparts so that the enemy wouldn't get to it. And then there were some guys who couldn't get there, so they ran the other way, and through some uncertain paths, they informed, if I believe correctly, Labanus. They informed Labanus as to what's going on. So you have these Romans who have spent at least a day and a half, if we're to believe Caesar, maybe a day, going through forests they don't even recognize, completely exhausted, dehydrated. I mean, everything, just like the worst kind of survival story. So now we're at 538, and we get back to Ambiorix. So, Hac Victoria Sublatus. So, elated or really, really made happy by this victory, Ambiorix immediately sets out with his horsemen into the territory of the Aduatuki. Okay, so if you look at your map, you can probably find them on there, who were neighbors of his kingdom. He omitted neither night nor day, and he ordered his foot soldiers to follow him. Okay. So he is using all speed, and if you notice what's happening here, very often what we see is that like all hope of safety was built into speed. That was Sabinus's argument for we need to get out of here, right? And you notice that the Gauls are very big on speed. Like they didn't have armor to weigh them down. So you remember when they'd attack the globe and then they'd fall back, they were moving too fast for the Romans to attack them. So once he being Ambiorix, had described the the defeat, the ambush, the defeat, and he rallied the Aduatuki. On the next day, he arrived in the territory, or he arrived into the territory of the Nervii. So he told them, got them ready, said, okay, now's our chance, let's go. They believed him. He moved on to the Nervii, right? So he's just passing along word. My soldiers would be along, but, you know, I got to get going. He's Paul Revere, okay? Or Israel Bissell. Look him up. So he arrives to the territory of the Nervii, and he urges them that they should not let slip by this opportunity of freeing themselves forever and of taking vengeance upon the Romans for the injuries that they had suffered. He explained, he being Ambiorix, that 2 legates have already been killed. That's Cotta and Sabinus. And that a large part of the Roman army has already perished. You know, that was 5 cohorts. And that it would be no effort whatsoever, or it would be no big deal, for the legion that winters with Cicero to be destroyed if they were suddenly attacked. So if you look at your map, he's saying, look, we already beat them over here. Now, y'all need to attack Cicero, because you can beat him really easily, because I just beat those guys. I beat 2 legates and a huge part of their army. So he's kind of rallying them, but he's also saying, look, you've got us to help you too. Like, we don't have to worry about Romans in our territory. So now it's kind of a way of like you pay off your debts by paying off one, and then you roll all that money over to paying off the other, and that you're putting larger amounts. It's the same kind of idea, okay? So he is saying that they should do that. He promised that in this attack, he would be an ally. By way of this speech, he, Ambiorix, easily persuades the Nervii, okay, of his plan. And that's the end of 538. Notice that Ambiorix is getting short sentences. Notice that in your translation, he's got all the indicative verbs. He's got all the very active verbs. They're not just verbs of sitting around or doing anything. He's becoming Roman. he's becoming kind of the Gallic Caesar. He's using speed, he's convincing people, he's raising morale, he's talking about his prior victories. He's out Romaning the Romans here. Now, of course, Caesar's doing this to build him up. So, this is the Roddy Piper to Caesar's Hulk Hogan, right? This is the Randy Orton to Caesar's John Cena. But at the same time, I do think it's interesting that he's using this last sentence is only 5 words long. Facile hac oratione nervis persuadet. The very last sentence in this chapter is something that belongs absolutely to Ambiorix. That's him doing that. And it's present tense and it's indicative. It's amazing that Caesar's giving him this. Very few chieftains at all in Gaul get this from Caesar, okay? But Ambiorix is absolutely getting this from Caesar. And if you listen to the podcast, you know why. And if not, and I'm talking to you, Anais, I know you don't want to spoil it for yourself, and that's fine, but you're going to love it. All right. Oh, by the way, we did a whole 4-part episode on Ronald Reagan and Conan the Barbarian. I think you guys would really enjoy it. Okay, I'm going to hit the button now.